Hello and welcome to another live English lesson here on the A. Okay, started again. So, hello and good afternoon. Welcome to this Friday afternoon on the AM Language YouTube channel with me, Richie. I hope you're all doing well and I hope you're all having a good Friday. Mm. It's Friday. That's about it really for me on that one. But yeah, look, we've had a good week. We've looked at quite a lot of language. And in today's lesson, I need to make sure I look at the camera. And in today's lesson, we are going to look at film English. Let's laugh together. So, if you, as always, please make sure you take part in the lesson in the live chat section because that's where the action happens. We're going to talk about films and we're going to talk about why we find why we find certain things funny, basically. And there's a lot of good language to look at. We'll also get to play around with a little bit of one or two language points that we looked at this week. Leondina says, hi, Richard. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Leondina. Welcome to today's lesson. I hope you're doing well. Noelia, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. I should say, by the way, guys, starting the process of laughing, I know that my hair now looks like a bird's nest and that there could very well be a bird living in my hair. I have not had a haircut now for quite some time, and it's pretty long. It does look like a bird's nest, and there's very little I can do about it at this point. So, at the moment, the hair very much is what it is. That's all I can say on that. Arena F, hello, good afternoon, privyet, and welcome to today's lesson. Thank you for joining. We are getting so close now. I think we're what, maybe 20 subscribers off. I think we're about 20 subscribers away, just maybe even less, 18 subscribers from 700 subscribers, which is excellent. Looking forward to seeing how that grows. And it will allow us to produce some more content. Leondina says that my little parrot likes staying on your head. Wow. Okay, that's good to know. I did not know parrots felt comfortable staying on people's heads. Okay, I mean, I have never had a pet before. If I had a pet, I would go for maybe. No, it's not even maybe. I would go for a dog. If I were to have a if I had a pet, I would have a dog. That's what I would go for. Birds, I think they can be really nice, except I can imagine them being quite difficult to look after. Cats, cats are not, you know what? I think it depends how sociable the cat is. I like cats to a degree, but sometimes I find them just not very sociable, and I like sociable animals. So if it's a sociable cat, then yes, that's a good cat. Evelina says, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson and buon pomeriggio. Leonina says that she has a dog. Excellent, great decision. Dogs are brilliant. And Sandra says, good afternoon. Guten Tag, Sandra. So let's get into today. Oh no. Okay, just as well. It's always good to have water next to you. Nobody wants to start no one wants to have something stuck in their throat. Okay, so let's begin. We are going to we're going to laugh together. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to ask you guys to think of some movies that make you laugh. You can put them in the live chat section and then we can discuss why they are funny. My example is going to be this. Okay, it's now I was born in 1987. So I enjoy watching older films. I love watching films from the 80s and the 90s. But there was something special about the 80s and early 90s, and even going back to the 70s as well to an extent, but especially the 80s and 90s. So, Over the Top, one of my favorite actors, not because I think he's a fantastic actor, but he's a really, and the word would be, I would just say he's a really enjoyable person to watch. And that is Sylvester Stallone. Now, Sylvester Stallone in this movie, Over the Top, um, it's funny that it should be called Over the Top, because if we were to say, yes, with Stallone, exactly, Evelina. If we were to say, oh, it's over the top, we would be saying it's unrealistic and too much of something, such as um, too much violence or too much action, etc., whatever it might be. The point is, it's unrealistic. But it's funny that the film should be called Over the Top because it's a very entertaining movie. Very entertaining movie. But it has the most un if I wanted to be sarcastic, I'm going to be sarcastic for a moment, okay? Uh the plot the plot is remarkably remarkably convincing. Now, I'm going to be sarcastic here. So anything I say, think the opposite, okay? Now, when I say remarkably convincing, I am, of course, saying, uh, if this is literal, I'd be saying really, uh, really realistic, okay? But because I am being sarcastic, I'm actually saying the opposite. So I might say the plot is remarkably convincing. Um, but of course, in reality, I'm saying it's totally unrealistic. So why am I being sarcastic with this movie? Because the storyline is it's hilarious. So Sylvester Stallone, he's a he's a guy who wants to get his son back. Okay, so he doesn't have a relationship with his son, but he wants to have a relationship with his son, and he wants his wife, his ex-wife, took his son away from him, so he can't see his son. So he wants to be able to see his son again, and for that he needs money. He has to show that he is a responsible parent. So what does he do? Well, he does what only Sylvester Stallone can do. He drives a truck and arm wrestles. So he arms wrestles for money, and he ends up in Las Vegas arm wrestling for $70,000. Totally believable, 100% realistic, and and emotionally sort of what's the word? Emotionally exciting as well. See what I did there? If we think back to the adverb lesson, I put a an adverb with an adjective. Emotionally exciting. It's but of course when I say it's totally realistic, I am being very sarcastic because it is so unrealistic. It's hilarious. And I think that's why I love this movie. It's so unrealistic. It's just entertaining. The entire film in its logic is hilarious. And that's why I love this film, and that's why I end up laughing. Plus, everyone has to enjoy. If you have seen Stallone with his his face when he's serious or he's fighting someone, he really knows how to pull a look of this is serious stuff. His lip goes down and his eyebrow goes up, and he pulls this face. Okay, so you pull a face, and he just pulls really funny faces, especially when he's arm wrestling. It's like, it's hilarious. Okay, so if you haven't seen this film, I really recommend it. Okay, and that's why to me it's hilarious. So some important things I've done here, word wise. You would see that I've used an adverb plus adjective, and I can use this to either say something that I mean literally, or I can play around with this language if I want to be sarcastic. I'm going to look at this a little bit more next week, but this is one of the ways of how you can be sarcastic in English. It does depend on how you say it, but it's all about this painting a picture. So once you have painted the picture, you can be sarcastic. It's easier to be sarcastic because then other people know you are being sarcastic. So that's why, for me, it's a hilarious film. Again, you can see I've gone with words like remarkably convincing, emotionally exciting, totally unrealistic, hilarious for the word funny. Okay, hilarious. I mean, if something is hilarious, we mean it's really funny. So over to you guys. Okay, let me know what you guys think. Can you think of a movie that really makes you laugh because it's one of these films which are very enjoyable, but very funny because the whole thing is maybe a little bit ridiculous. And I do have to say this. Okay, ridiculous. It's a really good word because it means really silly. Okay, ridiculous is really silly, and I encourage you guys to use the word ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You could say, for instance, completely ridiculous, for example. So there's quite a few things actually from the adverb lesson, but I am going to look at that prop into this further next week. So let me know, guys. If you it can, if you want, you can go for an actual comedy, or you can go with a film that is not a comedy but you just find very funny. Um, One type of film, by the way, that some people find funny um, are horror movies. Now, I don't like horror movies. I hate watching horror movies. I agree. Sometimes I the only time I could say that a horror movie is a little bit funny is if it's done really badly. But I don't enjoy being scared. And Nuella says Florence with Meryl Streep. Yes, that is a hilarious movie. Very good. Meryl Streep. Let me know, Noelia. What do you think of Meryl Streep? Why is that funny? I can think of a couple of movies with Meryl Streep which are very funny. And I would say this about Meryl Streep. She's been around for a long time. But when I think of the movies she's been in, I can think of quite a few movies where she has been very funny. And although she's not a comedian, I would say she knows how to be funnier than some comedians. I'm just going to say it. I think she's that good of an actress. Sandra says, I hate horror movies too. Oh, absolutely. The thing I hate about horror movies is jump scares. Jump scares are, when the camera turns away and then comes back, and then all of a sudden the ghost is there, or the music is there. It looks at the person, then looks away, then looks back at the person, and everyone goes, ah, that is a jump scare. Rubbish. That's what I say. Rubbish. Meaning really bad. I think she's a remarkably good actress. Really good sentence, Noella, and really well done because you remembered the article. Question mark. Actress. Oh, actress. Sorry, that's with an. I missed that. Actress is spelt with an E. Actor? Question mark. That depends on the individual these days. I have nothing. I look. I don't have a problem using actor and actress. I've grown up with the terms actress and actor. I know today some people think it should just be actor and no actress, but to me that's playing around with language for political purposes. Um, and I guess you would say in the modern day world today, perhaps it depends on the actual actor themselves. But I would go with actress personally. That's what I'm used to. But yeah, she's a remarkably good actress. I think she's one of my favorite female actors, actually. Um, Actors is just I see what I'm saying there. Actually, actors, actresses. Mm, yeah. Okay. If I think about this too much, I might turn this into like some kind of. I don't want to go down into. I don't want to talk politics, but I think she's one of my favorite actresses, to be honest. Um, okay. So excellent. Yeah. Florence, if you haven't seen Florence, I do recommend it. I think it's really good. It's a good film, and Meryl Streep is excellent. Let's see, what do other people say? Mariana Baliabia. Oh gosh. I'm just gonna say Mariana. Your Baliambina. Okay, that's going to be too difficult for me to say properly. So I'm just going to say Mariana. Mariana, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining. If this is your first time, make sure you subscribe and like the video. So you have said, is The Rat Race a good movie? Do you like it? I do know The Rat Race. I have seen The Rat Race, and I think it's a pretty good movie. Now, I'm going to use the word pretty good. If really good is here, very good is here, pretty good is here, and then it's just good. And the reason why I'm going to say it's pretty good and not very good is because, and I think it has something to do with the actors. There are some actors in that movie that I really like, and there are some other actors that, I don't know, it could have been funnier. But it is a funny film. Of course, Rowan Atkinson, who is my favorite comedian of all time, not for Mr. Bean, funnily enough, but for other work, it's a very funny film. But there's another actor in that is really, I'm not thinking of John Cleese, but he's with his family, and he has a real gambling problem. He's got a funny face. He's good in it. Sandra says, I love the movie series Little Fockers with Ben Stiller. Let me know, what do you actually, you know what? Okay. Ben Stiller movies. Okay, Ben Stiller. And this is how I describe Ben Stiller movies. It's the same with movies or films with a guy, an English actor, well, comedian called Ricky Gervais. Some of you might, some of you might know him. I suppose I think it's fair to say he is famous. I think he is. I think he's one of the most famous comedians, maybe in the world. Um, just need to make sure I spell his surname right. But these two guys, their type of comedy is a unique type of comedy, which is here we go. Nope. How do you spell this? Yeah, it's under a unique category of comedy, and it's called cringe comedy. Ben Stiller and Ricky Gervais, they go for cringe comedy. So cringe comedy is, um, it's uncomfortable and embarrassing, and you end up doing this. It's uncomfortable and it's embarrassing, but funny, and it needs to be funny. And you end up watching it and you think, oh no, that is so awful. Oh no. Oh no. That's cringe comedy. I mean, the whole series of Meet the Fockers with Ben Stiller is cringe comedy. It's so uncomfortable. Yuli says, I love when Harry met Sally. Yes, yes, yes. um, I'm sorry. I had to. When people mention when Harry met Sally, it's very difficult not to come out with that scene because it's the most famous scene. But when Harry met Sally, that is funny. I think Meg Ryan is a sort of person who's been in a lot of very funny movies. She's not usually the person who is the funniest, but it's to do with screen, what we would call screen chemistry, which is how how the two actors on screen um, play off each other. So what I mean is, effectively, we're talking about the relationship between two actors on screen. So, for instance, I can't remember who the actor is in the film When Harry Met Sally, but the chemistry, the way they play off each other. Now, play off is respond. Okay, so play off each other. This is another way of saying respond to each other. Okay. They respond well. They've got good chemistry. It's believable and it's funny. It's the same with what's the film? You've Got Mail. When Harry Met Sally. That's a good one. No, You've Got Mail. Sorry, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. That's a good one. Really good film chemistry, um, good screen chemistry, should I say. So that's good. Those are good options. And let's now, at this point, we'll continue this, but let's just try and remember some terms, okay? Because we've come up with quite a lot of terminology. So we've got Mariana says, I Feel Pretty. What do you think? I have not seen that film, I Feel Pretty. But it does remind me of a film called Anger Management, where two people end up singing the song I Feel Pretty. I feel pretty, oh so pretty, oh so pretty and witty and gay. And I pity any girl who isn't me today. That's the song I know called I Feel Pretty, but I don't know the film. Anyway, I don't know why I decided to sing that song for a moment. So let's just have a little look. Vocab check. I think that's what we need at this point. Vocab check. So we've got screen chemistry, chemistry, play off each other. There we go. We've got cringe, comedy. We've got ridiculous. What else? Jump scares. Uh, Pretty good and hilarious. Okay, so let's have a bit of vocab check. I would like you guys. Oh, and can we fit in one more? Hmm. Let's go with this. Okay, so let's have a little look at this language. I'm going to write incomplete sentences, and you guys need to choose one of the options up here to complete the sentence. So we can say, B, we can say, okay, B, let's go with, E, let's go with, let's see. Good. What's the word? Yes. Okay. F. And let's see. Can I think of one more? Okay, I'll just go with this. Okay, let's see what you guys go with. See if you guys can complete these sentences with the options above. I'm trying to think of, there we go. Yes, now I remember the film I was thinking about. After this, I'm going to talk about a particular film. So we're just doing a vocabulary concept check. Well, a vocab check. So we've got the options at the top here: screen chemistry, play off, cringe comedy, jump scares, pretty good, hilarious, and completely ridiculous. You've got A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Let's see how you guys do. So A, rat race is something. Um, so actually, because I've used okay, if you like, I know I've put pretty good, but if you want, you can change the adjective. Yes, like you've done there, Noella. So A, you've gone for pretty funny. B, cringe comedy. C, jump scares. D, screen chemistry. E, play off each other. F, completely ridiculous. And G, hilarious. If you agree with Noelia, please let me know in the live chat section by saying that you have the same answers. If you have different answers, please also let me know. So in this case, you'd be saying rat race is pretty funny. B, you would be saying Meet the Fockers is what you would describe as cringe comedy. Horror movies are just full of jump scares. You would be saying for D, Meg Ryan always has good screen chemistry with her fellow actors. E, you'd say these two actors know how to play off each other. F, the film is completely ridiculous. And G, the film is hilarious. Sandra says that she agrees with Noelia, and Leondina has come in with the same answers as well. So I can now give you the answers, and then I'll move on to the next lot. Really good. Well done, guys, because you guys are correct. Those are the correct answers. So well done there. Excellent. Now, I'm going to ask you guys now to give me some other examples. So, completely your turn. Okay. So, can you give me examples for the following? One, Evelina says that she agrees. Very good. Excellent. So, one, try and think of can you think of something that you can describe as ooh, what's happened here? There we go. So, one, can you think of a film that is completely ridiculous? Two, can you think of a film that is full of jump scares? I know it's not necessarily funny, but there you go. Three, a film full that you would describe as cringe comedy. And for a film that you would describe as hilarious. Okay. Um, okay, so completely ridiculous. My example for number one, if it was me, would be a film called. I'm going to give you my examples, by the way, and then please come in with your own examples. So, my examples one would be a film called Total Recall. Two, I mean, just pick your pick any horror movie. Let's go with. I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure The Nun would fit that description. Three, cringe comedy. I would go with. Gosh, there's so many versions. I'm going to go with The Office. To be honest, I know it's not a film, but For a film that's actually hilarious, I'm going to go with Airplane. Well, I could go with a few. I'm going to go with Team America. So those would be my answers. Please leave your answers in the live chat. So for number one, I said Total Recall. This is starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger is hilarious. Um, he is a guy who was an action hero actor. He always played the action guy, and his face is funny. His The way he speaks is funny, and his roles, the person he plays is always funny. Now, in Total Recall, this is an 80s movie. It's really funny, the whole thing. Noella says The Exorcist is a horror movie full of jump scares. Yes, that is the case. I completely agree with you, Noelia. So in Total Recall, the idea is that he is like a spy, a secret agent. He needs to get to Mars to fight the regime on Mars. So funny because he's like, he wakes up and he's like, no, I'm a secret agent. I need to get to Mars. No, you are not my wife. No, get down. No. It's it's just so ridiculous. I love it. I absolutely love it. Evelina says for number two is Death Note. Okay, so far you're coming out with the jump scares. I think I once watched a film called Lights Out. That's the film, Lights Out. So stupid. It's a horror movie, but the entire thing is stupid. You've got this like demon that can only be in the dark, but can move in the light. But you can only see them in the dark, and they can only hurt you in the dark. The entire film is 100% stupid. Terrible movie as well. I don't recommend it. It's called Lights Out, 100% rubbish. That's my verdict. The Office, yeah, The Office is a TV program. It's very funny. I think the American version is easier to watch. The the English version is funny, but that's difficult to watch. Noella says Mr. Bean's holiday is hilarious and completely ridiculous at the same time. Oh, 100%. 100%. And that's every Mr. Bean movie. That's just Mr. Bean. It's ridiculous and it's hilarious. But I would say the Rowan Atkinson's best characters. I can think of some other. I can I can think of other characters he's played that I prefer to Mr. Bean. Evelina says, to be honest, I love action movies. I love action movies as well, and I enjoy the ridiculous ones. It's like Rambo, another Stallone, series. Rambo is hilarious. Again, it's so unrealistic. Um, it's it's unrealistic. It's entertaining. It's everything I enjoy in an action movie. It's a bit like the film Expendables. It's got Stallone, it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's got Jason Statham, and a few other, main bad guys. Well, famous action guys from the 80s and 90s. Very funny, very enjoyable, um, and it's entertaining. And that's the thing. That's one of the reasons why I love movies from the 80s and early 90s. You can watch and you can be entertained. It's not trying to be too serious if it's not meant to be, it's just entertaining. But when it is serious, the writing is good. Like one of my favorite movies is Heat with um, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and Robert De Niro has the same look. It's it's always this sort of what we would call in English. He pulls the expression is a scowl. Okay, he he s- he scowls or he pulls a scowl. Yeah, he scowls at people. Uh, it's always like this. Okay, this is a scowl. I mean, okay, I'm just pulling a Robert De Niro impression of him doing. I don't like this. I don't like this. Okay, but I can't do a Robert De Niro impression. I think I can do an Al Pacino because Al Pacino just shouts. he goes from he goes from down here, not talking too loudly, thinking, and then he goes out, and then he shouts, and then he goes back down again. And that's Al Pacino. I love him. He's one of my favorite actors. But he's when he gets angry, that's his acting. As he got as he gets older, he's quiet for a little bit. He's talking normally, and then when he wants to make a point, he shouts, and then his character is angry. It's really funny. I'm making I'm making myself laugh, but it's really funny. Yeah, but that's why I like Al Pacino. He's entertaining. And that's why I like those sort of films. You can watch and you can be entertained. It's like when you watch like action movies like Die Hard, okay, for example, or what's the other one? Yeah, that's it. Lethal Weapon. What's his name? Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. He's ridiculous. He is so unbelievable. You look at him and you think to yourself, this person does he's so unrealistic as a policeman. You think to yourself, this guy definitely doesn't exist. This is not a real person. Okay, you might want to say that for Mel Gibson, but it's really funny. What does it mean, cringe comedy? Cringe comedy is uncomfortable. So it's funny, but it's embarrassing. Embarrassing and uncomfortable to watch. So that's what we mean by that. Here we go. Let me let me write this again. Embarrassing and uncomfortable to watch. That is cringe comedy. So Meet the Fockers, for example, that is cringe comedy. You know, it's funny, but it's difficult to watch at the same time. Sandra says, "Do you know the movie in Bruges with Colin Farrell?" I don't actually. I don't know that film in Bruges with Colin Farrell. Sorry. I'm guessing it's funny though. Is it funny? Let me know, Sandra. Um, so yes, I mean, embarrassing comedy. Do I like cringe comedy? A little bit. It can be funny. It's not always funny. because sometimes it's just too uncomfortable to watch, but it can be very funny. I put it this way, I think it depends how much you like the characters as well. For instance, if you think of Friends for one moment, the TV show Friends, that's not cringe comedy, but the comedy that is to do with the character Ross, the moments with Ross are usually to do with cringe comedy. So most of the time, it's not cringe comedy, but the character Ross and the comedy around Ross is more in line with cringe comedy. But they do it in a soft way. I would say it's soft cringe comedy. That's what I would say there. Okay, guys, and that brings us to the end of the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this sort of thing, make sure you hit the like button. And if you're new, subscribe. Mariana, thank you very much for your comments today, and welcome to the channel again. I look forward to seeing you in the future on the taking part in the live chat section. Sandra, always nice to see you here. Evelina, you too, of course. Thank you for joining the lesson. Noelia, thank you for your input in today's lesson. Leondina, thank you very much as well for your participation in today's lesson. Yuli, as well, thank you very much with your suggestion of When Harry Met Sally, and anyone else who might have been watching, and of course, Arena F. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next week. Leondina, you too. See you next week. You too, Yuli. Thank you very much as well. So take care, everybody. Have a great weekend, and see you next week. Bye for now.